If you want to learn how to be more consistent while attacking your opponent, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can maintain your consistency while attacking your opponent, so stay tuned. So I want you to take a second, and I want you to think, where do you aim when you're playing tennis? A lot of times we aim in a general corner, but I want you to be really specific. And when you think about it, are you aiming on the line, maybe a foot inside the line? Where? Because this is really important. Because if you don't have quality margins when you're aiming for shots, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So in this video, I want to show you, or kind of give you a mental mindset of where you should be aiming on the court so you can be aggressive and consistent. Because you don't get extra points for hitting the ball harder, especially if it's not in the court. You got to maintain and remember that, no matter what we do, the ball has to still go in. If we hit it hard, it has to go in. We can't just hit it hard and be out and expect to win matches. So having consistent margins will help you be consistent while being aggressive. So what do I mean by consistent margins? What I mean is I'm aiming usually halfway between the service line and the baseline, and then halfway between the double sideline and the center tee line if it continued. What this does is it gives me great margins, so I'm going to maintain my consistency and I can still be aggressive. Now, two other things that I like to think about is I'm trying to put together a lot of good shots, okay? And what I mean by good shots, they're quality shots. They're not like shots that are a foot away from the baseline or a foot away from the sideline. They're good shots. They've got great margins. Now, what happens when I go for a bunch of good shots usually is I have what I call a good accident. I make a good mistake, which means I go a little bit deeper sometimes by accident than my good shot, and it winds up being very close to the baseline, and I usually get a short ball. I call that a good accident. I'm not really going for the ball that's a foot inside the baseline or a foot inside the sideline, because if I do that, I'm going to make too many mistakes. But by staying consistent with my good margins, a lot of times I'll hit the ball a little bit deeper, and then it turns into being even a better shot. The problem I see with a lot of players, or that you may be having, is that you're aiming a foot inside the baseline and you think that's your good shot, and then when you have that accident of aiming a little bit too deep, it's out and you lost the point. So keep that in mind between aiming for consistent good shots and then having the accident or having the margin that your good shots turn into great shots. So by having this mindset, it allows us to be more consistent, but also maintain the aggressiveness we want when we're playing. And we don't have to feel like we're aiming so much in the middle of the court. That's not a bad thing, but at a high level, aiming in the middle of the court will cause you to lose points because you won't be able to control the points. So in review, what I want you to make sure you're doing is aiming with big margins. The bigger the shots, the bigger the margins, meaning we're aiming halfway between the baseline and the service line and halfway between the double sideline and the tee if it continued. These are great margins for you to have to stay consistent and be aggressive. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and make sure you check out my new site at TotalTennisDomination.com. This is Kevin Garlington, and play tough.